Most of us think we know the story of Adam, right? Creation, Eden, the forbidden fruit. It feels familiar.
It does. It's one of those foundational narratives.
Exactly. But today, we want to take a real deep dive. We're not just retelling it. We want to unearth some of the maybe overlooked insights in this ancient story.
Looking at different readings of Genesis, basically, seeing what core messages jump out.
Yeah. Our mission, if you will, is to explore how this very first account kind of illuminates big ideas, like how humans were formed, the nature of commands, choice.
To that big turning point, temptation.
Right, temptation. And what Adam's legacy really tells us about consequences, about the sheer power of human decisions. We really want to highlight what stands out and, what it means for you listening.
Okay.
So let's maybe start right at the beginning. Adam's creation. It's unique, isn't it?
Completely unique.
The text emphasizes he wasn't born like we are. He was formed directly.
Right.
By God from the dust of the ground.
Right. Genesis 2.7 gives that incredibly intimate picture.
It does. Then the Lord God formed the man from the dust of the ground, and then he breathed the breath of life into the man's nostrils.
And the man became a living person. It's such a personal act.
It really is. And then placing him in Eden, this perfect garden.
Well, what's fascinating there, I think, is how personal that creation is. It sets Adam apart, not just from animals, but from every human born afterwards. There's even that wordplay in Hebrew, right? Adam for man, from Adamah meaning ground or earth.
Ah, okay. I didn't know that connection.
Yeah, it's subtle but powerful. This direct molding, this divine breath, it establishes this unique kind of pure connection right at the start. It really sets the stage for the responsibility he's given.
He wasn't just part of creation in the same way.
Exactly. Directly formed.
So he has this unique start. He's in paradise. What were the rules? What was the setup?
Well, that's another striking thing. Our sources point to just one command. A single rule in this place of abundance.
Don't eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil.
That's it. And when you think about it, in a perfect garden with presumably countless other trees.
It seems simple, almost too simple.
Well, yes. But the question is, what's really wrapped up in that one prohibition?
Right. It can't just be about following an arbitrary rule.
Exactly. If you connect it to the bigger picture, this single no, even in paradise, it fundamentally introduces choice. It introduces boundary. Free will becomes a real thing right there.
So it wasn't just about knowing facts, like good versus evil.
Some reading suggests it's deeper than that. Perhaps it was about the power to decide for themselves what constitutes good and evil, to define morality, essentially.
A capacity only God had up to that point.
Precisely. So that puts a whole different spin on freedom, doesn't it? Even in perfection, there's this line, this choice.
Okay, but then things change. Temptation arrives. How does that unfold?
Well, the narrative describes the woman, Eve, being persuaded. The tree looked good. The fruit seemed desirable.
And she eats it.
She eats it. And this detail always stands out to me. Genesis 3.6 says she gave some to her husband who was with her.
Right there. Not somewhere else in the garden.
He was right there. And he ate it too. It makes you pause, doesn't it? What was he thinking? Why didn't he intervene or question it?
Yeah, that who was with her part is heavy.
It really is. And that's the moment the ripple effect starts. The immediate result. Disobedience enters paradise.
And the text connects this directly to Adam.
Yes, the idea that through Adam, sin entered humanity. It wasn't just a personal mistake. This single act becomes pivotal with eternal consequences.
It really underscores the weight of decisions, not just for him, but for everyone after.
It's like a blueprint, in a way, showing how choices, even ones that feel personal, can echo outwards generation after generation.
So if we try to pull it all together, Adam's story is this powerful mix of creation, choice,
trust, temptation.
Yeah, all wrapped up in one narrative.
And I think the core lesson, drawing from these sources, is pretty clear. Our decisions matter, hugely.
They carry weight, sometimes more than we realize.
Absolutely. They shape not just our path, but potentially the world around us. But importantly, even within this story failure, the larger narrative shows God's plan continuing. It doesn't just stop there.
Right. So this ancient story, it's not just history or myth. It feels like a foundational map for understanding the human condition, our struggle with freedom, responsibility.
Knowing good and evil.
Exactly. It all echoes today in our own lives, our own choices.
Which leads to a final thought, maybe for you listening. How might this ancient story, this account of creation and consequence, make you think about the ripples your own choices create? Big ones, small ones. How might a single decision reshape the landscape around you, even today?